for several months, the Washington rumor was that President Biden was going to come out with some strong executive orders to stop the southern border immigration catastrophe. After denying it for 3 years, Biden finally came out and acknowledged that he has presidential authority to do something about the border. President Trump used that authority to develop programs such as Remain in Mexico and Title 42, along with a partial completion of the wall and a tough mobilization of Homeland Security agents. Trump was able to staunch the flow of illegals. Biden has the authority under Section 212F of the Immigration and Nationality Act, which gives the president authority to suspend the entry of all aliens or any class of aliens. Also, there's the Illegal Immigration Reform and Immigrant Responsibility Act. That was in 1996, which added Section 287G to the Nationality Act, the gist of which gives ICE, working with local law enforcement partners, the power to identify and remove incarcerated criminal non-citizens. Now, so far, Biden has done nothing, probably hoping the issue is going to go away. But it's not going to go away. A recent Issues and Insights tip poll shows 58% majority favored a wall, while a plurality of 42% favored deportations to go along with the wall. Most important, 85% of Americans want greater enforcement of border laws. Joe Biden's done nothing. Now, Jason Riley tells us in today's Wall Street Journal that the Gallup poll reports immigration as the most important problem facing the U.S. for the third consecutive month. That's the longest stretch for this issue in 24 years. Also, a Monmouth University poll last February. It reported 53% of Americans want a wall constructed along the southern border. That's the first time that the number has surpassed 50%. Even when Mr. Trump was president, the number was a slightly lower 44%. Now, some history from Jason Riley. How Earl Warren, then the governor of California, who was the Greg Abbott of his day, according to Jason Riley, how Warren pushed President Eisenhower to launch Operation Wetback to stop the invasion of illegals, which was imposing a massive welfare burden on his state. In mid-1954, June of 54, within 6 weeks, more than 1 million Mexican nationals in California and Texas had been rounded up and forcibly deported. 2 years later, Ike was re-elected in a landslide. And let me add that President Trump, running for re-election, is looking to emulate what Earl Warren and Dwight Eisenhower did with respect to deporting illegals and certainly criminals. Now, in a congressional hearing today, Budget Chairman Jody Arrington estimated the cost of the Biden illegal invasion to be $150 billion for things like health care, education, and criminal justice. I'm sure that's a low ball because there's almost no telling how high the cost of criminality and violence around the country, and especially in the blue state sanctuary cities. New York City, for example, estimated a $12 billion cost, but that was last summer, nearly a year ago. You can be sure the current estimate is a lot higher. Additionally, evidence mounting that Biden's illegals who've been given work permits or even green cards have been taking jobs away from native-born Americans. And at a minimum, the surge of illegals has reduced wages. Now, at the recent campus riots, the spotlight has temporarily moved away from the open border crisis. But as polls show, Americans have neither forgotten nor forgiven Joe Biden's failure to act. And that is the rift.